Hi, I'm Lisa Bradshaw. Thanks for joining the show today. Today we're focusing on women in our community who are entrepreneurs and doing it in such a way that they're trying to dictate their schedule around their family, around their lifestyle, whatever it is, and they're doing it with success. Today's guest is Annie LaCroix. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So you're a business owner in our community.
Yes.
And you own?
Columbia River Institute of Massage Therapy.
I let her say it herself because I'll end up messing it up. But I'm very familiar. I visit your establishment weekly. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of respect for what you do because you teach new students every 6 months.
Yes, about every 6 months.
So tell us a little bit about the school.
So the school is very small. It's small by design, and it focuses on about 6 to 8 students a class, and we work together for them to get trained to be massage therapists in the state of Washington. Massage therapy licensure is different state to state, so ours is Washington focused, and that's kind of the essence of what we do. And then we're also open to the public, as you know, so that the students can practice their massage on people in the community at a discounted rate.
Right, and so I like that discounted rate. And I also like going to get a massage from somebody who's done it a long time, but sometimes I like going with someone who hasn't because they're not kind of set in their ways yet. And
right.
We're supposed to be giving them feedback and everything, and I like to give feedback about that sort of thing. So your school is different by design than any other school pretty much in the country, than a lot of them?
Yeah, there's not many schools that are modeled. There's not any that are exactly modeled the way mine is, and it's a lot of massage schools are franchises, or they're owned. They're bigger and they're owned by somebody else, and then the teachers or instructors are hired by them. And I'm the primary instructor and the owner, and I do have guest instructors, but it's different in the sense that I'm the owner of the school, and I do the most amount of work in the school, and I work directly with the students.
And so you are a successful entrepreneur. You've had other businesses and other successes, and this model's worked well. You've been in business for how long?
This business, 8 years.
Okay, so you're having success and you enjoy it.
Yes.
And all of this is happening in your schedule, and you're making it work, and you're having great success, as I said, and then you decide you want to do something more.
Yes.
So tell me about how your podcast idea, your podcast Brainy Boss, came about. It's been around for just a little bit now, but tell us about how you even thought of the idea and what got you started.
Yeah, that's a great question. Over the 8 years that I've been having this school, I end up doing a lot of consulting with my graduates, and then that consulting has also branched out to other people with small businesses. Predominantly massage therapists, but I do work with people in other businesses. And I saw a need because there's a lot of resources for people that are solopreneurs, right? I work by myself, this is what I do. And then there are resources for bigger businesses. But the businesses where someone's working in it all the time, like I do, but has a small group of people, like employees and stuff, that's an underserved group for resources. And
so when leadership is involved, not big scale, huge corporation leadership, but you have other people you're responsible for.
Right, direct leadership, and you're working with them in a
daily capacity.
Daily capacity all the time, and that's really different because you have to have different principles and stuff. And so my consulting was really based around that, and I just saw that it was filling a need. And I love podcasts, so I listen to podcasts, so that was a fun thought. And I thought, I just want to put out a podcast with some better resources for these small business owners that maybe can't afford consulting also because they are tiny, and need just something to listen to get them inspired and realize they're not alone in their journey.
So when you think about a podcast, so anyone can have one these days, we know this. And I had told you once before that when I was on radio on a station here in our community, it was easier for me to get interviews because I was on a radio station, and that was one of the first questions they'd ask. Is this an internet show or is this a real show?
Right.
And now it's interesting how the shift is because I'm sure that radio still has its credibility, obviously, but now podcasts, even though anyone can get one, it's about outlasting the people who are just in it, not really knowing what they're doing or not really trying to figure out, make it a real, you want to make this a big go.
Right, I do, and I want to establish a community online of like-minded business owners. So that's the podcast is to gather these people together, and then on my website I do have a community for them to talk. So it is about making a go of it in that respect. But I like what you said. A lot of it is just, will it outlast? And that's any business. Is a lot of people can start businesses, but can you keep it going and make it successful? And
coming up with these fresh ideas.
Yes.
So I think that when we are asking, just like you were talking about leadership and leading a group,
right.
And you have new groups that come in every approximately 6 months or so, so you have this new personalities and new people you're dealing with, and it's the same sitting here with you. I'll interview someone else later in the show about the same sort of topic, but get a whole different perspective.
Right.
And that never, ever gets boring.
Right, exactly. It's a very dynamic, small business is super dynamic, and it's different every day, and the personalities are different all the time, and so it's worth talking about.
Well, when we come back, we're talking with Annie LaCroix. She's the owner of Columbia River Institute of Massage, and also has launched a podcast that's doing pretty well called Brainy Boss. We'll be back in just a moment to talk specifically about the podcast, its format, and how you can listen.
Elements is a nationwide top 200 salon celebrating 20 years of service in the Wenatchee Valley. We are staffed with educated and experienced designers providing beauty and health services. Visit our Facebook page for our store hours and our menu of services.
Do you want to become part of the most dependable brand of vehicles today? Then start looking at Town Toyota. Come drive the best-selling, totally redesigned 2019 RAV4. Come check out the powerful towing performance of the Tundra. It's built for the worksite and the weekend. Forge your own path and seek tougher roads in the Tacoma. Leave no trail left unchallenged. Whatever your vehicle needs, Toyota has a seat for you. Come visit us today.
Hi, we're back. I'm Lisa Bradshaw. Thanks for joining the show today. We're talking with Annie LaCroix. She is the owner of Columbia River Massage Institute, said it all by myself, and also has launched a really incredible podcast called Brainy Boss. I've listened to it. People are listening to it. It's on iTunes, and we'll tell you more about how you can listen to it later in the show. But thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
So we were talking about how you wanted to launch a podcast, and we were also talking about how anyone can do it. So when you're going through the process of making the decision, okay, this is the platform I want to use, and that's all technical stuff that everyone, there's so many to choose from. But what about content and the theme of your show, and making sure that you're sticking into, and you don't want to be in a tight box, but you also want people to know what they're coming to listen to.
Right, and that was easy the topic was easy for me. I knew it was going to be
first.
I had that first. I knew that it was going to be time management, and really hammering down on time management, because I do feel like everything is about time, right? And how we're using our time and where we're spending our time. So I knew it was going to be about time and productivity for sure.
Related to business specifically?
Related specifically to business. Now, when I've talked to a couple people, of course, that ventures out into your regular life, because I always say there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's just all one life, and in that life we work. And so instead of saying this is about work and it's not about life, it's about all of it. So it gets in there, but the focus is small business owners who are doing it and balancing everything out.
Well, one of the things we talked about in preparation for the show is you were saying, I'd want to have you on and you can talk about how you manage your time and you run this nonprofit and you have the show. And that is not a skill for me. I can get everything done in time, and I've always worked by deadlines. As a writer, it's always about deadlines. I used to write for a publisher, and I'd interview people, and I would have to write the story. I'd talk with people for maybe an hour or so and interview them, and then write 3,500 to 7,000 words. And there were multiple times that I was sitting down to write 7,000 words the day before they were due.
But that's your system.
It's not a good system, though, but I get it done. Last night I was working on my mobile website till 3 a.m. Because I was in the groove, and I just have to go when I'm in the groove. And now that my son is grown and gone, I mean I can kind of just work whenever. But I do have to, it is about time management and saying, okay, put the computer down.
Right.
You know, you got to have. I'm working on routines. It's my goal, and I don't want to call it a resolution. I mean, I just feel like it's something that has to happen for me.
Right.
And so I'm happy to come on your show and talk about how I don't utilize that specific time management, but you're a person of routine.
I am, but I'm learned. It's learned routine because I find that when you have routine and you do the same thing every day, you know where your spaces are and you can book them in and you know what I'm going to do. And so there are a lot of things about entrepreneurship are self-imposed deadlines, right? You have deadlines that you're saying are from a magazine or something else, but I bet a lot of your deadlines are self-imposed.
Yeah, I only have one gig that is a deadline now, and everything else is self-imposed to some degree. Right. If I'm giving a speech, that date is the date I'm giving it, and I have to be prepared by then.
Right.
But I'm good at setting it out that far. But so the people that you're talking to on your show so far, you've interviewed several.
Yes.
So what do you think is the common theme? Are you looking for the people who are successful at it? Or are you just looking, I mean, obviously you must have some success if you're running a business.
Right.
But what are you diving into when you have a conversation?
Well, there are two parts of it. So when I'm interviewing somebody, what I'm diving into is their process, because one person I interviewed, they are very tech-centered. They put everything into a piece of software and it sends them reminders. Someone else was more about paper. So everybody's process, you and I have different processes, but we both get stuff done. So I like diving into the process that works for you, right?
Right.
And that might be different than the process that works for me, but still in your success is some type of routine, even if it's not. I have a daily routine that's different than your daily routine, but you still have a routine. And I like to know how it's different and what works for you and what you know doesn't work for you. So that's what the interviews are about. And then there's another show each week that's much shorter, where it's just 10 minutes of me talking about, like, here's how you would do this. Here's how you would do this. So really quick tips for people that say, I know I could get more done if I was a bit more organized, if I managed my time a bit better. So how can you do that? I'm
in the process of moving my guest room into my office and my office into my guest room, because my guest room is fairly large. And I have a desk treadmill. I've mentioned it on the show before, and I should walk and work, and if I want to, I do. I can get up there and do it. I don't have to try to do it. I have to be disciplined in not sitting down somewhere with my laptop. If my laptop's hooked up there, it's just an automatic thing for me. But one of the things that I feel like my guests come for such a short time, a night or two, and yet I need to be in my office almost daily. So why aren't I making a bigger, better space for myself? Because the room that I'm moving it to is still lovely, nicely painted and decorated, and plenty of room. So I'm giving myself more space in my office so that I'm more organized in that space. And also technology. You're talking about some people want paper, some people don't. I was getting ready to send the person who's going to help with social media for the tour I'm doing in the spring. And she said, send me an email of your timeline. And I was going to write it all out. I thought, there's this little icon right here that has a calendar in my email. I could just, and I use Google for that, but this is different. This is through my email. And I created this calendar, and I highlighted all the dates, and I have some of them booked, and I created, acronyms, this AFW, I'm available for work, and there's sometimes I'm not, and here's S for a story and E's for an event, and I felt so accomplished when I got done with that. I think she was going to be impressed with not getting just a silly email from me, with all this listed things.
I think that's awesome.
So that is part of it, right? It's just figuring out what works for you.
Well, I think the guest room example is a great one. A lot of our time management problems are because there is a lot of friction. If you have a small room somebody that works at home that works from their kitchen, so they have to get the kitchen table cleaned off before they can work. They have to set themselves up. That's friction. It takes a lot to get going, where if you create a space for yourself that you like and is beautiful and there's more room for you, there's less friction to get to your work. So all of our routines can be that way. Even working out. If your gym is a long way away from you,
or your friends want you to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
I'm saying, no, it's not going to happen.
Right, because there's friction. That's too much friction. You're not going to do it. So what's the easiest thing? You have a home gym. I'm going to get up and I have to walk down the hall. So time management is so often about decreasing friction. What's hard? What takes us too much time? And how can we get rid of that and simplify it to get more done?
I think I need to bring you home with me today so that you can go through my office and help me get that last little bit done. There's all these little piles I need to get to so I can make that final transition. But I really respect all the work you do in our community. I think you're one of the smartest businesswomen I've ever met, and I really feel like I benefit a lot from our conversations, so I wanted to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And share your brainy boss, you know. And so the podcast you can listen to on...
You can listen to it on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Google Play. It's kind of everywhere. It is called Brainy Boss, and the website is brainyboss.co.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I look forward to doing your show as well.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It'll be fun. I don't know what advice I can give, but I'm sure you'll dig deep.
It'll be fun to interview you, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Elements is a nationwide top 200 salon celebrating 20 years of service in the Wenatchee Valley. We are staffed with educated and experienced designers providing beauty and health services. Visit our Facebook page for our store hours and our menu of services.
Do you want to become part of the most dependable brand of vehicles today? Then start looking at Town Toyota. The innovative features of the Highlander are designed to help safely get you and your passengers wherever you want to go. The Prius is the most advanced hybrid on the road today. If you want to roll in style, we've got you covered in the 86 GT. Whatever your vehicle needs, Toyota has the seat for you. Come visit us today.
Hi, we're back. We're actually taping this segment a couple of weeks after my interview with Annie, so hence the change of clothes. But I had my first guest on because I saw a post of hers on Facebook. We're not super good friends. We don't see each other a lot, but we are friends, and we have connections in the community. And I saw her post about getting to work from home, that had been a goal of hers, and now she's getting to build this career working at home. So I have executive consultant with Rodan+Fields, Megan Kovanen, here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. We have matching sweaters, and that wasn't planned. So let's talk about that. What was your career before you got started with Rodan+Fields, and what was it about that opportunity? Part of why I wanted to have you here is it doesn't really matter what the opportunity is. It's seizing that opportunity. So what was it about this that was one of your goals, is to work from home?
Absolutely. My career that I was in prior to my Rodan+Fields and being at home was running the medical library at Confluence Health. I would do research for physicians, lit reviews, and loved it. I mean, truly loved it, and I was really good at it. And we had the opportunity, because of Rodan+Fields, to get to bring me home. And was that a first focus when I looked at this opportunity? No. I just thought that I would have this additional great tribe of individuals to work with, great skincare company, great business, and that would be, financially beneficial as well for our family. We have an incredible son who is 11 years old, and through not the lack of raising our hands for roughly 4 years, finally received a diagnosis of being a high achiever, just an illuminated kid who happens to be on the autism scale, and he is on what they call a level 1. His big hiccup is social. So Rodan+Fields and the opportunity, I quickly saw this duplicatable business that I could have anywhere, but I could have it here. I could have it here in Wenatchee, where we live and thrive. And I could be home to help him with those social aspects that he's getting ready to navigate as he goes into
Right, it gets more
school.
intense, right?
Yes, as he goes into middle school. And so I quickly sat down with my business partner, Dodie Pike, and my mentor, Delane, and just kind of plotted out a plan. Like, I need to be home. I need to exceed, for this child.
And that's, that's a really, it's always a motivation, I think. Whatever it is, it has to be heart, from your heart, right? Because you're going to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to get there.
Without
And
a
I've
doubt.
said it before on this show. I was interviewed once. One of the times I was interviewed on a radio show, a woman asked me, what's my greatest career goal? And I said, I got to be home by 3 o'clock. And so that forced me to get very creative, because I've really never had an 8-to-5 job. And I really just had to focus on what can I build for myself so that I'm feeling like, how do I feed my kid and feed my soul? That's always my goal still to this day. He's gone to college. I'm still paying, I got to feed my kid. I got to feed my soul. And so when I read that about you, I thought, oh, that's really good, because once you achieve that, what is the difference like for you now that you're able to navigate daily with your own schedule and your own, giving your family what they need and also yourself?
I have found that I am more present at home, and I am more intentional on everything that I do. And so when I look at a schedule or look at something that comes into our family, and ask, if you will, of our time or anything, whether it's financial or the gift of time, we sit down, and it's caused me to take pause. And
it's not an overwhelming thing when you look at it and think, how am I going to fit that in?
Exactly.
And then you get to decide. I think the more time you have, the more deliberate you are with your time, because now you get to decide.
Well, now I get to decide, and I get to decide if it's going to fuel our family goal, our children, where we're going in the future, health, happiness, joy, mental health, physical health, all of that.
And so when you make these decisions, and now that you are working from home, how hard was it for you? I mean, not specifically about an opportunity with any one company or anything like that, but sometimes I think it seems so difficult to achieve, the idea of the women or men who want to work from home, and it's kind of sometimes a thing of our past. But I always wanted to be home, and I was able to venture out and have these career opportunities because my husband was paying the mortgage. So I got to write a book, and if it failed, it didn't matter. I got to start a business. If it didn't work, it was okay. And that was a very safe way to navigate. And then when my husband died, it was like, whoa, I have to be more deliberate in my decisions in my career, because I only have a certain amount of time to earn money, and I still got to be home by 3 o'clock.
Absolutely.
So there's a process you go through in your priorities. Your values determine your priorities. So what did you prioritize along the way to make that happen?
First and foremost, family. People ask, what's your why? And then you can say family, and they're like, that's too broad, bring it in. And I'm like, I do everything for my family.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. And when you bring it in,
Faith and family.
yeah, when you
and
bring
then
it in, it's everyone has their own version of that, right? Their own value system. And I feel like values determine our priorities, and priorities determine our story. And so your story for you is about your family, and anyone can look at your life close or from afar and see that. And that's the goal for you.
You know what it is? I think first and foremost, I want to nurture these children and make them amazing community members that will go back into the community that we live and we love. We happen to live in Wenatchee, Washington. It is not a ginormous city. And I want them to thrive here, to make it better here. I want them to go away, blossom at their universities, and how great to be able to come back.
You hope they come back. You don't know if they will. I know.
And maybe hope that they'll come back and share that message with our community or the communities that they live in. So that is my
Right,
goal.
because if you teach them to be a strong community member here, they'll take that wherever they go.
You got it.
And that's the part that is, I think, about Wenatchee, and you and I had talked about this before we started taping the show. I believe in this town and in this city and every opportunity that it has. You can be an entrepreneur, an author, a business owner, a famous athlete. You can be whatever you want to be, and this be home.
You can most definitely thrive here.
When you think about now that you're here and you're doing this, we just have like a minute left. So when you think about the goals that you set for yourself, what is the biggest reward so far?
Honestly, it goes back to the boys, that they see that I am the hero of my narrative.
That you made it happen?
Yeah.
Did you talk about it with them ahead of time?
Every step of the way.
So they knew
My
that
very
was a goal.
first sale,
Yeah.
all the way through my very first team member, through additional team members, and that they can see that.
that it's growing.
Yeah.
How old are they?
They are 15 and a half and 11.
You got to add that half.
I do, because he'll be quick to tell you.
My son, for some reason, the entire year that he was 9, he lied and said he was 10 the whole time. And now he's about to turn 20. I'm like, you're leaving your teenage years, your double digits into now you'll be in your 20s. It's just crazy. So enjoy every bit of it. I mean, that's the thing. As long as you are enjoying it, then whatever it is that you're doing, your children will feel that and they'll reflect it in their own lives. That's the goal, right? To try to nurture them into being the people that they're capable of being.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming on,
Oh,
sharing
thank
your
you.
story.
This has been a treat.
Yeah, thank you so much. And nice blouse. I like that color.
I love the color too.
So now she's good.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen, and the cabinets, and the floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time, Mary Maids.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.